So this one is going to be pretty short. Hopefully, by this point in time, you guys have given at least a couple of presentations. But I do have kind of an interesting little story about this. So you guys know I used to teach high school. Okay, taught at Farmington High. And for anybody that doesn't know, when Farmington High first opened, they used a very different system, okay, of learning. And one of the things that students did all the time was give presentations. And it actually made it so that several organizations commented on how much more mature the Farmington High School students were than anybody else. When I say organizations, I'm talking about things like Skills USA or TSA or Science Fair or Honor Society or the things that high school students go and do competitions for. And so presentations are actually huge. And one of the reasons, actually, there's several reasons, but I'm going to go over an overview and then talk about chapter 13, talk about your assignment, and then how to record. But the number one reason I think that presentations are so valuable is because it builds confidence, self-awareness, and communication skills. If you are having to constantly talk to yourself and try to perfect your persona on a presentations, whether they're recorded or in person or either way, it really nails down that kind of self-awareness that we were going over just in last module about building your professional persona. Practicing presentations also improves your technical skills, your planning skills, and your design skills. You have to do things on purpose, and obviously, the more you do something, the better you can get at it. And being able to give a presentation, whether it's an on-the-spot 90-second thing or whether it's an hour-long presentation on an intense report, you are building your professionalism. So in chapter 13, it's a pretty quick chapter, very easy to read, and a lot of it goes over things you guys might already know. One thing that you might not know, it goes over basic structure of a typical presentation. And I like to look at that as a place to start for whatever presentation you're doing. It talks about using speech notes, which obviously is more appropriate for something like that hour-long professional conference type presentation that you're giving and not necessarily for a 90-second one. It talks about how to design and use slides, kind of the 7x7 rule. Only have up to 7 bullet points, 7 words each, and that's it. The rest of whatever you're going to focus on as information comes from what you say. It talks about practicing first, and again, the more you do it, the better you get at it. When I first started making lecture videos, I'd have to re-record the thing like 20 times. So you get better at it. You get to where you develop your kind of identity as a presenter. Okay. You guys may have seen me change just a little bit or get a little more relaxed or loose doing these throughout the semester. So it's kind of entertaining. And then it talks about overcoming stage fright. I put the slash recording because it is very, very similar. And actually, for me, it was easier to stand up and give it in person than to do this recording thing. So anyway, talks about getting over those things and basically. So this is the specific assignment that goes along with your presentation skills. And your job is to create a 3 to 5 minute presentation about how you will incorporate professionalism into your aviation career because of what you've learned in class. Okay, sort of like a self-reflection, kind of. But your job is to kind of consider everything up to this point. And you are going to submit it as either an MP4 or a link. Sometimes a larger file won't submit at all. And if you run into that situation, upload it on YouTube like these are. Just submit it as a link, okay? Your presentation, again, should be 3 to 5 minutes long. It needs to include a title slide, an introduction slide of you and your aviation career, 3 to 5 slides about concepts from class you're focusing on. Think kind of the what did I learn thing, okay? Those need to be from the textbooks. They need to include specific examples from class and when you've used them. Focus on one concept per slide. And then you need 1 to 2 slides reflecting on how each concept can help you be a better professional in your aviation career. And then have a references slide, okay? You do need your face showing, like mine are here. I am not dressed professionally enough for this specific presentation, okay? There are definitely times when a t-shirt is just fine. You guys have seen me once or twice in a t-shirt and once in a hoodie. The other times I've had a polo on with the wings on it. That's good. I've had kind of a fleece jacket with a collar. That one's good. I've had one of those high neck kind of things on. That's good too. Okay, just dress a little more professionally for this one. Make sure your face is showing. Don't wear headphones. So when it comes to recording on Microsoft PowerPoint, there is a resource listed under your readings for how to do this. But in general, the directions are you've got to create your slides, obviously, and save them. You go up to slideshow, click record. You want to double check your view, make sure your face is showing, make sure your microphone works, and then it'll jump to presenter view, and there's a record button either in the left-hand corner or in the center. You'll press it. It'll start a countdown from 3, and then a timer will come up off to the side, and it tells you how many seconds you have left, or how many seconds you have recorded. And then once you're done talking on the final slide, you actually just use the arrow keys or the space bar, and it'll end itself. And then you want to export the file. Depending on the version of PowerPoint you have, it'll either automatically take you to the export screen, or you need to go up to File, click Export, and then click Create Video. And it's honestly pretty easy. And you might have to review a little bit on the resources that I put under readings, but it is pretty easy to do. My top 3 tips for your presentation: number 1 is practice. Number 2, make sure you're prepared for it. And number 3 is probably the most important. Just smile, okay? Try to relax. Use body language. Look people in the eye, right? Look right at the camera, and just try it out. See, get used to yourself, kind of talking to yourself.